I'm Lauren. I'm the owner of Fox and Snow Bakery, and we're back. We're back to sharing recipes with you, giving you the recipe exactly the same one that we use in the bakeries, and working our way back to making them together. It's been a couple years. We've opened a couple shops. I've had a couple babies, but we're back, and we're going to start with something pretty simple and something pretty easy. We're going to start with a classic banana bread. It's the perfect Fox and Snow recipe in that it's nothing crazy. All the ingredients are really familiar. They're all really accessible. They're all super easy to work with. It's just how we're using them. We're going to start with 3 eggs. And I'm going to talk about eggs for a second because I feel like I am not a professional, well, that's the wrong word. I'm not a classically trained baker. I am a self-taught baker. And I feel like everybody made me so afraid of using cold eggs when you're baking. And I have not found that to be something that you should be afraid of. And in the actual bakery, when we're making things, we do not room temp our eggs. We use cold eggs. It's fine. All right, so we're using 3 eggs. Okay, we got 2 cups of granulated sugar, 3 eggs. Doesn't matter the temperature. We're going to use a whisk for the whole recipe. We're not using a paddle for any of it. And we're not mixing it by hand, although you could. It's just not, it's going to be harder. You're going to have a forearm injury at the end. But we're going to put everything in here. We're going to whisk it until it's pale, fluffy, really take it to the extreme. Light, fluffy, practically white. You're going to whisk it. You're going to think you're done. You're not done. Keep going. At this point, I might actually start mashing my bananas if I were at home doing it. But it really goes for long enough. You could walk away and do something else and come back, and it would still probably need a couple more minutes to go. You can already tell it's getting lighter in color and it's getting fluffier. You might be tempted to pull it out at this point. Don't be tempted. Ride the wave. So I'm going to scrape down the bowl. You don't want those little pieces of granulated sugar to get stuck around the edges and not get incorporated. So that's about where we're going to take it. It's very fluffy. And there's a lot of air in it, which is lovely. One of the things that I could not figure out when I was learning to bake at home was how to get that crack at the top. My unprofessional word for it was how to get the crack on the top of the banana bread so it splits open. If you're baking bread, it's called an ear. So how do you get the ear on the bread? So there's 2 things that we do. The first one we just did, which is to make sure that our sugar and our eggs are really fluffy. And then the second thing that you're going to do is you're going to add your oil and you're going to emulsify it. So we're going to take 1 cup of oil and we're going to slowly pour it in while we're whisking to bring it all together. And that's going to help, so when it bakes up, it's going to split open and it's going to look really beautiful. The inside is going to remain really dense. It's going to remain really like a wet consistency. And then the top of it is going to have a ton of crunch. And part of it is going to come from that ear where it splits open. And then the other part of it's going to come from the sanding sugar that we'll add later on. We went ahead and mashed. We have our banana. We have sour cream, which if we're going to have a secret ingredient, none of our recipes really have a secret ingredient, but if we're going to have a secret ingredient for this particular recipe, in my opinion, it would be sour cream. Sour cream, 3 bananas, and a teaspoon of vanilla. So we have, and this is a 1/4 cup of sour cream, so it's not even a lot, but it's going to add to the fat content. It's going to change the texture of the interior of the banana bread. There's 2 different ways you can take your bananas. So one is you let it go to the point where it almost looks inedible. That's the perfect place. You know when you go to the grocery store and they're like bananas that are ready for banana bread, those aren't even ready. You still have to let those go a couple days. But the other way you could do it is you can wait till they're perfectly ready, freeze the banana in the peel, thaw that, and then put that banana in here, which is what we've done today. So we're going to add 3 bananas, 1/4 cup sour cream, teaspoon vanilla. So I'm going to add in 3 mashed bananas. And you can tell, like, if you freeze bananas in any form, you're going to end up with this, like, banana liquid, banana juice. I mean, I don't want to say banana juice, that sounds gross, but it's gonna sweat a little bit, it's gonna create that. You use all of it. This isn't like one of those things where you drain. Put it all in. It's all gonna be good. Then we're gonna add the sour cream and then vanilla. And then we're gonna mix it all together till the banana is fully incorporated. Okay, and then we're gonna scrape it down again. Mix, scrape, mix, scrape, mix, scrape. It really is so important to get down to the bottom of it, otherwise you're gonna end up with that one slice or bite that has a big piece of banana, or it has an area that didn't get mixed in, and you're gonna eat a dry bite of flour. Okay? This sounds obnoxious, but this is a cup and a tablespoon of flour. Normally I would just say a cup, but I really am trying to make this as close to the exact recipe that we use as is humanly possible, and that translated into a cup and a tablespoon. 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and a half a teaspoon of salt. You don't have to overthink this part either. We're going to add the dry, we're going to scrape down the bowl, and we're going to keep going. So we'll add a little bit of the dry. When I was planning the menu, I wanted everything to be as accessible and unpretentious as is humanly possible, and I didn't want to reinvent anything. I wanted the best version of something I had eaten 500,000 times before and that I grew up eating. There's not a blueberry muffin on the menu, and it's because I haven't figured out how to make the world's best version of it yet. And that kills me, because I love blueberry muffins. Okay, we only have to do this one more time. We only have to scrape down and mix one more time. When we first started, it wasn't originally on the menu. I had grown up eating it. I hadn't thought to R&D it. I eventually wanted to put it on the menu, but I didn't. When Jeff, my husband, and I moved back to Ohio from New York City, we couldn't find a building. We'd find a dream building and a developer would have bought it. Or we'd find a dream building and somebody was going to tear it down. Or they weren't willing to rent it out, or whatever reason. And we had looked for about a month, and I got really frustrated one day, and I was like, I'm going to look where I assumed no one else was looking for spaces, and I went onto Craigslist, and I looked for garages for rent, and there was a post, had no picture. I called the landlord, and the landlady, I called the owner of the building, and I had this like big impassioned speech, and I am a native Ohioan, and I have this dream, and I'm going to open a bakery, and this is the perfect location, and I'm going to transform it into something magical, and the whole thing. And I finished my speech, and it was really quiet, and then she was like, I have one question for you. Will you sell banana bread? And I was like, if you give me this building, I will put banana bread on the menu. We got the building, and then I had to figure out how to make the best banana bread. So that's how it ended up on the menu at all, and hasn't left. This isn't going to look any different than probably any other recipe for banana bread that you've made. That's the goal. We want it to look really familiar. We want it to look approachable and beautiful and delicious. There's a lot of cinnamon smell coming out of here, which is lovely too. Okay, so we're just spraying the inside, particularly the bottom. So we're just putting the paper in the bottom of the pan. This, to me, is like a real treasure. This is sanding sugar. We use this so much at the bakeries. So it's basically like a very coarse granulated sugar. It's beautiful. You can get like an opaque version. This is more like a clear version. You can get it online. You can get it at specialty bake stores. To me, if you're going to put this on a pie dough, on top of a cake, on top of bread, it is the game changer, in my opinion. That's just going to make it like over the top. And it's pretty too. just going to add this in. And then I will put on a generous amount of sanding sugar. Probably more sanding sugar than even the recipe calls for, because you measure with your eyes with this. And then I do bang it on the table a couple times, get the air bubbles out. And you can even see the little bubbles pop out, which always is like very gratifying, you know, like you did it and something actually happened. Okay, and then we're just sprinkling the sanding sugar on top. We're putting it in the oven for 350 degrees. We're going to do 45 minutes uncovered, and then we're going to cover it, like just tent it with foil for the last 15 minutes, exactly how we do it at the shops. And that's because if you're going to get that little crack, if you're going to get the little ear, then the little tops of it are more sensitive, and they're more likely to burn, and so that's why we're going to tent it. So we're going to turn our oven on. 350. I would preheat that. That's actually something that you have to do. Okay, so 350 degrees. Those bakery ovens are like car engines. They're so intense. And then we're just going to let it go for 45 minutes. Tent, rotate, and then take it back out. Okay, so this is what, I mean, it's obviously cold or else I was burning my fingers, but this is what it looks like at the end. We have like this beautiful crack or ear, depending on how fancy and technical you want to be. It looks a little bit darker than I think most people would take it to, but that's good. You want that to happen. And then this is not, there's no like real science to this part. Okay. This is it. You can tell it is really, really like a wet banana bread. It's going to come off on your hands. It's got a lot of spring to it. It is not a cakey banana bread, but I don't like that. There are two kinds of people, right? The people that like the heel of the banana bread and the people that don't, and I am that person, so I'll save that for me. But you can see inside, it's fully incorporated. No walnuts, no raisins. You can see how almost it like even looks a little bit underdone. It's not, but it's going to look like that wet, dense, in a good way kind of thing. So, I mean, look how beautiful. This is for you, Carol, wherever you are. I'm around this food all of the time. We've been open for 11 years. There is one pastry that I really never get sick of and probably could eat every single day. And this is that for me. I mean, this is probably like the most obnoxious way to eat it, but this is the best bite, right? So that's the bite I eat, and then I leave the rest for anybody else is with me. It's got crunch. It's got a lot of cinnamon. The two textures together are perfect, and it's not cakey. It's like exactly the way that it's supposed to be. It's going to keep really well for a long time. If you keep this covered, you could make this last for several days. I've literally never made a loaf of banana bread in my house that made it to the next day, but you can. So that's it. That's our Fox in the Snow banana bread down to a T. The perfect summarization of what we wanted to be in the beginning, which was really simple, best version of something you've had before, recognizable, unpretentious, and also really summarizes the way that we like to make things, which is not what you're using, but how you use it. So putting everything in the right order, taking your time, making it with care. That's really how we try to do everything here. And this is really like a very easy, cozy, delicious embodiment of all of those things.